contextual inquiries fails, but let's fix that. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do contextual inquiry the right way in UX design. Contextual inquiry in UX design is a user research method where designers observe and interview users in their natural environment while they perform tasks. This approach helps uncover real user behaviors, challenges, and needs that might not be reviewed through traditional interviews or surveys. So contextual inquiries fit into the larger UX research process by providing us with real-world insights into how users interact with our product in their natural environment. It serves as a bridge between user interviews and usability testing, ensuring that design decisions are based on actual user behaviors rather than assumptions. So, at the discovery phase, contextual inquiry helps define user pain points, goals, and workflows before jumping into solutions. And at the research and analytics stage, unlike surveys, contextual inquiries captures natural interactions and unspoken frustration users may not verbalize. So I'm going to show you a practical step-by-step guide to conducting a successful contextual inquiry. But first, let's look at this UX flow redesign, which will help us understand what a failed contextual inquiry looks like and how to do it better. So if you look at this first design here, it was observed that users who were supposed to click on Activate Account button here were selecting the Create Account button instead, leading to high drop-off rates on this registration page. Why is that, you may ask? Isn't the activation link clearly written here? Well, that is exactly why conducting a contextual inquiry is crucial. So I'm going to give you two scenarios, and this will help us understand what a failed contextual inquiry looks like and what a successful one looks like. So for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to assume that this is the natural environment of this user for this particular test. So I'm going to be asking the user some questions and allow the user to take the test on the phone, right? So as an existing user, you've been a member of the business, but you haven't accessed your account online. If you're to access your online profile, how would you proceed? Didn't you see the activation button? Maybe I wasn't paying that much attention. So would you say that the design is fine and you just made a mistake? I guess so. So for this scene, can you guess what went wrong? I'll tell you. Number one, interrupting the user mid-task instead of letting them naturally complete it. 2, leading questions that assume that the design is fine and put the blame on the user. 3, makes opportunity to observe real user behavior and uncover why confusion exists. Number 4, observer's bias. Now, the researcher asks, would you say the design is fine and you just made a mistake? This question pushes the user towards saying the UI is fine, reinforcing the researcher's preconceptions instead of revealing the actual usability issues. Now, let's take a look at the scene 2 so that you understand the difference between failed contextual inquiry and one that actually works. So this is scene 2. I would like you to observe the difference between scene 1 and scene 2. Observe what went wrong in scene 1 and then observe what went right for this scene. As an existing user, you being a member of the business, but you haven't accessed your account online. If you're to access your online profile, how would you proceed? So I noticed that you clicked on Create Account. Can you walk me through your thought process?
Well, I just assumed that that's where I should go to since I haven't used the account before.
Interesting. What do you think Activate Account means? So what went right? 1, natural observation without interruption. 2, open-ended, not leading questions that reveal true user thoughts. Number 3, key insight uncovered. The activation button isn't visually prominent enough. Now that you've seen those two scenarios, I hope you now understand what a failed contextual inquiry looks like and what a very good one looks like. And I hope you understand how not to be biased when you are observing a user in their natural environment and how to make sure that you don't ask leading questions. Now, based on the feedback gotten from the users, we're going to see a redesign of the screen just to show you how important it is to get concrete feedback or user feedback while you're conducting a contextual inquiry. This is the after screen here. Now, based on the user feedback, the user said that she didn't understand, or the create account button was more prominent and she didn't really understand or see the activation link. So what we did here was to redesign the flow, make sure that the create account button is here. Now I'm going to play the product type so that you can understand my thought process based on the feedback that we've gotten. Remember, the user said that the create and the activation link that was not very prominent. The create account was very prominent. So remember, we asked her what she thought the activation account link meant, and she said that honestly she didn't really notice it. So what I did here was to create 3 different buttons because there are 3 scenarios here and we don't want users to be clicking on the create account. So we decided to have sign up and login. We changed the terminologies and added an activate account button and also added an information icon here that clearly states what activation means for the users, right? And if you go back to this login screen again, we've also added this activation link, but we made it very prominent and we took this sign up link to the top here as opposed to what we have here, right? We took it to the top. So as you can see, the second scenario, which allowed the user to be able to express their thought process, what they were feeling, and not lead to give you the answer that you wanted to hear, actually gave us insight to be able to make this redesign work. So finally, here's a practical step-by-step guide to conducting a successful contextual inquiry. Step 1 is planning the contextual inquiry. So in this step, what you're going to do is to define the research goals. How do you do that? You need to define what you want to learn. For example, why are users struggling with activating their account in the exercise we've seen? You also need to identify key pain points or behaviors you want to understand. In this step again, you need to choose the right users. Select participants who match your target audience. Second step is conducting the inquiry. You need to select the environment. You need to try to establish rapport with the user. You need to ask open-ended questions. So instead of, do you find this button confusing? Ask, can you tell me what you're expecting this button to do? Instead of, why didn't you activate your account? Ask, can you walk me through your thought process when setting up your account? You also use the apprentice approach. Position yourself as a learner and let the user teach you how they use the product. Avoid making assumptions or leading them to specific answers. Step 3 is taking notes and capturing data. You need to document key observations, record the session, but with permission. Look for patterns. Are there multiple users making the same mistake? Are users misinterpreting labels, icon, or navigation? Then step 4 is analyze this insight and applying your finding. You need to group similar behaviors into categories, e.g. users confuse terminologies or skipping important steps. You need to create a journey map to show where friction occurs. On this same step, you also need to identify opportunities like if users ignore the activation button, how can you make it more prominent? Then you need to communicate your findings to stakeholders. Use reusers' codes, videos, and visuals to highlight key issues. Recommend specific key design changes backed by data. Test it, reiterate, and implement design improvement, and then test again to see if usability improves. Now you're ready to conduct a successful contextual inquiry. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow LogRocket for more UX design insights and practical tutorials.